The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered is here, bringing with it an awesome new roguelike mode, new story missions, and more. However, to get the best experience from all these modes, whether this is your first time playing or not, there are several settings you should change. Some of these will greatly increase your skill level, improve the graphics, and even allow you to scan for all those collectibles you've missed throughout the story, so make sure to stick around to see them all. Settings number 1 and 2 are both actually display settings, but for some reason are hidden under accessibility and then motion sickness. Here, you'll want to increase both the camera distance and your field of view. Increasing these values effectively zooms the camera out a little, and you can see here that putting them both at the maximum allows you to see so much more around you. So now, you'll be able to scream your house down a whole half a second earlier when a clicker jumps out at you from absolutely nowhere.
Oh my!
However, if this does feel a bit too zoomed out for you and is actually making your aim worse, then try setting the values to 2 and 5. I believe that to be the sweet spot. The third setting will add even more fluidity to your gameplay and is found under controls, where you then want to bump up your look sensitivity to something in the 70 to 80 range. I find the default of 50 is just way too slow, and bumping it up helps you quickly turn around if an enemy sneaks up on you, or if you are quickly needing to look between 2 points. You might even prefer it higher than 80, so just experiment with it. Setting number 4 is located in the alternate control section of the accessibility options, and is the option to enable auto pickup. With this on, you no longer need to hit triangle when running over ammo or any other items that enemies drop, thus ensuring that you don't accidentally miss anything if you're running around during a combat encounter. Resources are extremely scarce in The Last of Us, so you need to make sure you're picking up everything you can, and this will greatly help with that. In fact, it saved me many times in the no return mode too, by automatically picking up another close by melee weapon the moment the one I'm using has broken. Above this option is setting number 5, which is auto weapon swap. This does arguably make the game a little easier and less realistic, so some of you might want to keep it off, but if you do turn it on, whenever you run out of ammo for the weapon you're currently using, you'll automatically be swapped to using a different weapon in your holster that does still have ammo. This quick automatic change could save your life in those tricky situations, which is much better than dying because you forgot you had a second weapon. I'm speaking from experience on that one. Now, the 6th and 7th settings both improve the visual fidelity of the game and can be found in the display options. First up, you'll want to fully disable motion blur if you're using the performance mode. It's pretty much universally agreed upon at this point that excessive motion blur in games like this just looks straight up bad, especially at higher frame rates, so I have no idea why this still defaults to the maximum value in so many games. I mean, seriously, why would you want it to look like you're riding a roller coaster when you're literally walking or even sprinting at best? Only keep motion blur on if you are using the 30 FPS fidelity mode with your frame rate locked, but even then I recommend reducing it down to 5 or 6. Next, move down to the film grain option. By default, the game applies a lot of film grain over everything, and it feels way too extreme in my opinion. Even on the main menu, you can see how grainy it looks, and it's even worse in dark scenes in the game. Personally, I like to turn this down to 3, which makes it a lot more subtle but still helps cover up any low quality textures in the distance. A lot of you may prefer it completely turned off even, so just try a few different values whilst on the main menu and let me know in the comments what you settle on. I'll heart every comment that does that. Whilst you're in the display settings, I should also mention that if you have a 120Hz in VRR display, make sure that the unlocked frame rate option is enabled for better overall performance. The 8th setting is found under the HUD options and is to enable pickup notifications. Now, instead of ever being unsure of how much of something you've just picked up, there will be a notification sent to the bottom left of your screen telling you exactly what it was. I find this can be quite helpful for fast-paced sections of gameplay where you might not properly pay attention to what an item was or how much of it there was. It's also especially useful if you turned on the auto pickup setting earlier, as sometimes the game will pick things up for you before you even get the chance to see the icon telling you what it actually is. Setting number 9 is an incredibly useful one, as you'll be able to find all gameplay related items and collectibles in a 30-meter vicinity by the press of a button. Not only does this help with trophy hunting, but it also helps you find health and crafting supplies in the no return mode and the story. Speaking of the story, there are so many notes and things scattered around purely for world building. This will help you find those too. So to enable this feature, go to accessibility, then navigation and traversal, and toggle on the enhanced listen mode. You'll also want to extend its range to the maximum value of 30 meters. Now to see all the items and collectibles around you, hold R1 to enter listen mode, then tap circle to scan, and just look at all that stuff that you've missed. Please consider dropping a like if this helps you out, as well as subscribe for more PlayStation focused content. I need your help to get to 100,000 subscribers, so I'd really appreciate you doing so. Now I should mention that with this on, you can also tap square to reveal all enemies around you, though I personally avoid this as it feels like it takes away from the excitement of the combat encounters. Back to speaking about collectibles, the 10th setting is to enable collectible tracking, which is under the hood options. Now on every playthrough after your first, which I assume will apply to most of us having transferred over at least one save from a PS4 version, you'll see an icon above a collectible if you've already picked it up in a previous playthrough. This helps speed up all the collectible trophies as it's so much easier to decipher which you have missed on your prior runs. Moving on, setting number 11 will make aiming a lot easier if you ever find yourself struggling. Go to accessibility, then enable the combat accessibility options and disable weapon sway. This removes all that sway you get with weapons when scoped in, but because of this it does take away from several aspects of the gameplay loop, such as the need to hold your breath and upgrade weapons. Therefore I personally keep it turned on, but I thought I should still point it out to those of you who might find it useful. The 12th setting can be found in the controls menu and is to enable the photo mode shortcut. With this on, you can get straight to photo mode by pressing L3 and R3 simultaneously, thus skipping the step of needing to pause the game first and helping you capture exactly the moment you intended. Setting number 13 is under the DualSense options and is to change the adaptive triggers from on to firing only. By default, there's a weird trigger tension to scoping in, which to me just doesn't really make any sense. Changing it to this setting though removes the effect from L2 while still allowing you to feel the trigger of the gun on R2 or the tension in the bow when preparing to launch an arrow. Now, setting 14 is certainly a highly unique one, but I think it's really interesting, so I figured it's worth a mention and I think everyone should at least try it out. You can find it at the bottom of the DualSense settings menu and it's a speech to vibrations option. You'll want to enable it and then dial the intensity to 5. With this set, whenever characters speak, the controller's haptics sort of vibrate at the same cadence as their speech, so you physically feel the line being delivered. I think this is a really cool and interesting use of the controller, so just try it out even if you don't want to keep it on and let me know what you think to it in the comments. I'm intrigued as to what everyone thinks about this. Yet another interesting DualSense feature you can enable is the 15th setting, motion sensor aiming. This one is found under the controls menu, and with this enabled you can now aim by physically tilting and twisting the PS5 controller around, which you might find adds an extra layer of immersion as though you're actually holding the gun. It also feels a lot more like a mouse does, so if you can get used to it, it might even make your aim better. Like the speech vibration option, this is just another cool feature I recommend you have a go with for the fun of it, and who knows, you might end up liking it. Now, to see a full list of settings you need to change on your PS5 itself, click the video on screen, or alternatively, click the one below it to see my full review and real-world AI noise cancelling tests of the new Pulse Explore earbuds. Also, please like this video and consider subscribing if any of these settings helped you.